Welcome back. This is task 2, creating an AWS Lambda function. Okay, so you can see that we have the Lambda console open. We're looking at the dashboard here. And what we're going to do is create a function and use a blueprint, so that'll speed up the deployment. So I'll click on Create Function, and I'll select a blueprint, and then I'm going to tell it that I want to use a Lex blueprint to match up with that bot we're creating. And of course, we want the make an appointment with Lex blueprint. We'll go ahead and give it a name, something appropriate. So I'm going to call this the make appointment. Try to spell this correctly. Code hook. The name isn't going to create an issue if you get something different. It's just nice to have it named according to the specifications in the lab. Under the execution role, I'm going to choose an existing role. This is important because for this lab, we won't be able to create a role like we did with the bot. For the Lambda function, we're going to leverage a role that was created in advance. This is not uncommon when you're in an environment where you have security professionals working there. They often will be creating these kind of components for us because this is what provides the permissions for the function to interact with other services like CloudWatch, as well as Lex and anything else it would need to interact with. So I'll go ahead and select an existing role. I'm going to select the Lex role. And then if you scroll down, you'll see that if I leave it alone, it's going to use this function code. This is the one that's coming with the blueprint. We're going to change this in the next part of this, but you can see there's quite a bit of code here. Let me scroll down to the bottom of the page because what I want to do is hit the create function button. I'm going to go ahead and do that, pause the video, and we'll come back, okay? And we'll take a look at the function as it's created. We'll see you in a moment. Okay, so our function's been created, and you can see here the function overview, the make appointment code hook function. And then below that, you'll see the code source down here in the code editor. And what I want to do is remove the code in this lambda function.py file. Right now, what we have is not actually a lambda function itself, but the lambda code stored in the lambda service, and it's stored as a bundled package with the Python version 12 runtime. So any of the libraries, et cetera, that needs to be available to run this code, as well as the code itself. Now, our problem is this code, well, not the problem, but the code needs to be replaced. So I've already copied this into my clipboard. So what I'm going to do is get rid of the code on this page. So what I'll do is I'll do this and delete all that code out. This is not the code I want yet. So I'll have to scroll down to the end of that, delete that off. Okay. Now this will auto save, but it doesn't deploy it. So I'm changing this file and it saves the content of the file, but until I actually tell it to deploy it, no changes have impacted the code package. So I'm going to need to replace that code package with this new one. So before I do that, what I want to do is paste in the code that I already copied in my clipboard memory. There it is. And if I scroll down in there, I want to make sure I got everything that was in there. And we're going to get rid of this so we don't need to worry about that little message, because what we'll do is we'll check it and it says return response. So this all looks good. It's a fairly lengthy document. It's not as long as it looks because they've got all these extra lines just from copy and pasting out of here. It renders as blank lines. So it's probably about 600 lines of code. In any case, you can see that the code's all in here. So I'm good to go. So the next thing I want to do is recognize this undeployed changes message here, and I'll go ahead and click on the deploy. And when I do that, and let me get all the way to the top here so we can see the message when it pops up. I can go ahead, scroll down here a little bit, hit the deploy, and I should see a message telling me that it deployed. There it is. It's updating the function. So that code package just got updated. I think all they do is they replace the whole code package. In any case, the package that's required to deploy this function is now stored in Lambda. It's been updated and we're good to go there. And so you can see we've completed this task. And let's scroll down to the bottom here. It's a very lengthy code box here. So just be aware that you don't want to cut anything off from there, right? One of the great things is we could have actually had all this code in a file, and then we could have uploaded the code. Wow, that's really long, right? There we go. That's the bulk of the instructions right there. And we could have uploaded that zip file. All right, so when we come back, we'll do task 3, associating the Lambda function with the bot. We'll see you then.